Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, the voice for fitness, and this is the Fitness Professionals Podcast, where I help you with marketing and with sales tactics and strategies that work to get more customers with more profit and have more freedom while you're doing it. So, this is actually the second in a series of short podcasts. Now, I kind of promised, I would try to keep my podcast length to about 20 minutes or less. So, I'm going slightly longer than that in the first one, and I'm going to try to cut this one much shorter. And really, that's very possible. So I alluded to, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the most recent podcast. You'll find it either in iTunes or you'll find it on right now on Voice for Fitness, but that website is going to change any moment now. What I want you to listen to is the mindset of growing your business. So you've got to be there and be wanting to grow it. This is the mapping out your marketing plan. This is your GPS. So you've really got to have a plan, and you don't even have to go into action doing anything yet, but you need to most likely have a better understanding of really what marketing is. So a lot of people will think, marketing is sending out flyers. In the olden days, the direct marketing, it was actually the way to go. And it actually is still very useful because not enough people or not as many people will be using it. A lot of people are using Facebook advertising and or email advertising, and that's so tiresome, and our inboxes are so full that we're ignoring those types of things. So looking at how you can, come back and use something that may have gone out of style, but actually that may be the reason you want to use it because you will stand out. How many people get things in their mailbox that are truly things they want? So if you know your customer and you're putting something in their mailbox they will want, that could work. But we're also talking about, marketing. Are they flyers in-house anymore? Probably not so much. Anymore, it's all getting to be junk and pollution. We just don't see it anymore. But it might be a part of what you're doing. There also might be social media sites that you're at that can be a part of your marketing, but the step-by-step down the stepping stone really goes best like this. Content is king, and content is queen, and content probably is the prince and the princess also. We're going to be building relationships. Those of us that are going to be successful in any business, but especially fitness, because it's such an intimate kind of a relationship. When we're working one-on-one or in small groups with people who are not comfortable in their own bodies, who are maybe fearful of their own longevity, that's a pretty personal relationship. We're going to definitely have to be in the trenches in relationships, and a part of that is creating content. Not just more content to put out more stuff, but better content that actually serves people, that they want to read. And if you're in a large fitness center, you have a bigger job and a bigger challenge than someone like I do who has a small, narrow niche or has narrowed it down to that. So I'm serving primarily females between 50 and 69 who are going through or went through hormone hell, basically, and weren't getting good exercise prescriptions. So I narrow down what they need to do with exercise and with their nutrition and lifestyle changes that support that exercise so they feel better, not just tired. They're not getting hurt, but they're actually getting results. That's my market. My true avatar is probably about 56, and getting closer to 60 is alarming. She's put on weight during menopause or postmenopause. She can't get it off, doesn't like herself, not sleeping, nothing's going well. That's mine. So when you know that, now you can really map out your marketing. But if you have a big facility, you've got much more marketing because you need to target not only that person who's likely under your roof too, but her spouse, her kids, maybe her mom. And you're serving so many people and different diverse segments of a population. And you need to create content to appeal to each of them, because you'll never create content, one piece of content, that appeals to all of them. If you have 20-year-olds and 60-year-olds, you could write an article about osteoporosis, but it's not going to appeal to the 20-year-old. The 60-year-old is probably going to be paying attention. Or you start to poll those people and figure out what they want, or see the poll that you're getting as they like or they don't like. Your blogs, your articles don't get shared. Your social media posts don't get liked or commented on or shared. They're voting, and you're losing if things aren't getting shared. So it's key that you look at how you're going to do your marketing. But let's get back to the nuts and bolts. So the real piece of content is creating it. So what is content? A blog, for instance, is content. But think of the blog as, yes, it's content marketing, but it's only the first step. So a blog doesn't attract anyone unless, you have people going outside shouting, hey, we wrote a blog today, which is exactly what social media is. And this is a podcast. This is a form of marketing, or could be if you had a podcast where you were delivering great content that people loved, and then somewhere within your podcast, halfway through, you might do, we're going to take a quick break. We want to tell you about this new program. And then at the very end, you might say, if you've got a question, we want you to come over to the website. And so you've kind of laid two, not pushy, but attractive and relevant. So if you're going to talk about osteoporosis, you might have a balance promoting class, that's your target that you're talking about in the middle of it. You don't want to talk about, high school volleyball conditioning class in the middle of, something where you're talking about osteoporosis. You want to keep things relevant. And that's another thing that I see as a default that we're not always doing. We're just kind of spamming, we happen to have this group stuff starting, so let's get that in the email that we're sending out on Sunday, instead of, is that even related to the content that we're writing and the article that we're writing for that day? Because you can really help yourself both ways. If you keep things relevant and the subject line is about a topic and they open it up and you've made them aware of a problem and aware that there's a solution, and obviously you're writing the article, you're the person or the agency who can provide the solution, then adding that advertisement along the side for the class directly related that solves the problem, that's relevant, and that's the kind of thing that you want to be doing. So back to content. Your blog, a podcast could be. If you don't have a podcast, don't do that. Don't stress out about, I don't have that. Writing articles. If you're writing articles into a newsletter that you're sending out, smart. But what is even smarter is you need to take that article and put it directly on your website. So somewhere, if you have a blog and this is something separate, but what a lot of us will do is we'll link to, in our email newsletters, we will link to the content on our blog because it's on our website. And where is the cash register or the store? On the website. And that's what you want to do, is bring them back. And you don't necessarily want to drive them through your email with just, here's a course, here's an opportunity to buy, and always spamming them with, here's our programs we want you to do. Let them come to it because you give them content that's useful and valuable. And they will then open your emails much, much more. So think about the better ways to use content, like articles. Because if you don't have a blog and don't want to start one, or you write separate articles for your newsletter for some reason that you don't put on your blog, and I'm wondering why that would be a good idea, but if that's true of you, then make sure you put those articles on your website. Or if you write articles regularly, like columns for your newspaper or a women's magazine that might come out monthly in your community, ask about having the copyright to that article and putting it on your website, because you want that text and that SEO, and you want people who are looking and searching for that particular topic to come to you. And if it's only living in your newsletter, then if you're using, for instance, Aweber or Constant Contact, that's where that content lives, not with you. And if you want to be the expert and authority, think about how you're setting that up, because it matters. You need that content and you absolutely want it. If you've spent the time to do it, the real value is putting it on your site, on your real estate. That's what you want to do. So once you've got those pieces of content, and video is another, creating YouTube videos, super smart, because it is the #2 search engine. So I won't go into that, but I can't tell you how many organic finds of clients, customers who go into groups, customers who come to just buy products or one-off products, and then end up doing something more and being a part of my community has grown in the last year. So organic proof that people like you is also good if you want to have sponsorships or collaborate with other people. It speaks well that you're speaking to a certain community. So as an example, and not to brag, but to look at just numbers, because some people have done far, far better than I have, but just growing organically, no advertising. I've gone from about 2,000 people, fans, to 20,000. I think I'm just over 20,000 on my YouTube page. So that's a constant influx as well. So that brings people back to my website. And that's the whole goal. So once you create those pieces of content, then you want to put them out on other pieces of social media. If you create a blog, you want to come up with, say, 5 or 6 pieces of quotes from that blog, and maybe you created, a colorful meme or a quote card, they're often referred to as, to put on Facebook and to put in Twitter, and make sure that you're driving things back. So the funny thing is, we spend so much time creating content, or should, so that it's good and high quality and not just more stuff, but then we don't share it and we don't go back to it. If you wrote a killer blog that got a lot of likes and shares and loves and a lot of questions and comments, and you did it last August, why wouldn't you continue, if it's an evergreen topic, to share that regularly, every few weeks on a couple of them? So when something first comes out and it's brand new and it's hot, you want to look at, okay, I'm going to share this 6 different places, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, maybe in Pinterest, if that's where your people are. So you've got to be paying attention to not where you want to be, but where your audience is. And buyers is what we're talking about. Not just people who are going to like you who live in Argentina, but people who are local who buy. Where are they? Are they on Facebook? And in most cases, if you're dealing with women of any age, that's a yes. But they may also be somewhere else. Younger set, maybe on Instagram. And you want to look at, where are your people? Know that. And that's about knowing your customer better than anybody else, back from the previous blog. So take a look at that. Mapping out your marketing starts with the frequency that you're going to create a video, or you're going to create the blog, or you're going to create the article or the podcast. Those are kind of the core essentials for content. And then you're going to look at, all right, we create those on such and such a day of the week or a date, and here's how we're going to share them out. So we're going to have, at least 2 links go out from that blog, coming back to it from Facebook. We're going to do 2 from Twitter. We're going to, maybe also create a video of the same exact written content that's in that blog. So it's another way to go back and forth. And usually you want kind of a 3-legged stool, so that you're going from blog to Facebook, maybe to YouTube, or you're going to take a YouTube video, embed it in your blog, and then you're going to share that out to Facebook. So you want to create this map and decide, first of all, where are your customers on social media? and know them so well that you already know the topics that will interest them, that maybe they struggle with knowing what to eat. Maybe they struggle with, exercises they could do at home for balance. You're going to create list after list of possible blog posts so that you can never run out of content. And then you're going to start sharing that. And all you need to do is establish a schedule. What comes next is deciding who's going to do that. Are you creating all the content? Is someone else creating the content and getting it to you on time to look at before it goes out? Who's creating the social media posts and the graphics? Graphics are really important. We look at a photo or an image probably 90% more than we will look at something that's text only, unless it is the occasional anomaly. So when we're scrolling through and there's all this colorful stuff and then there's one little text post sticking out, you and I will both probably pause on that because it's different. But you can't do that too much because then it will wear itself out. That is mapping out your marketing. Really thinking about where are your key places of creating content, and then take each piece of content, slice and dice it up so that you come up with 6 different ways to post it, share it, tweet it, pin it, whatever, and keep coming back to that so it's evergreen. My best recommendation here is create an Excel spreadsheet. For every post that you create, whether it's a blog post or an article or it's a podcast or maybe you're creating video, title it, write what kind of content it is, and then divide it up and say, okay, here's the file for all of the social shares that we could do for this with a link back to the site. That's ideal content marketing that works and establishes you as credible, quality authority in the niche that you want to serve. So up next, now we've hit in the first one, the one before this, the mindset of growing your business, really where you have to be willing to put in the work, because most people don't. They don't post regularly. They started a blog and then they forget about it. They start a podcast and then, they can't come up with content or they're busy, so they don't do it. And it's like a lot of our customers, it's because they're not sure it's working. And the thing is, we know this about exercise, it will never work if you don't do it consistently, right? So even if you're doing something wrong, at least, or you're not doing it perfectly, at least if you're doing something consistently, you're probably better off. So this was all about mapping your marketing. The third and final one coming up next is how to attract with simple, sane marketing strategies. Really rolling your sleeves up to get the language that your customer uses, to get the way they phrase things and state it, and to really get what they want, not what you think they want or what they want to, what you want to fill a spot with and how you want to use your space, your square footage, and not let it sit empty, but really about serving your customers and when they want it, what kind of transformation they want. That's what's coming up next.